Hey guys, Aaron Zeller here of the Zeller Writing Company and inkonhand.com. Today, I want to let you know that I've decided to, at least once a week, try and get you one review of something to do with the writing industry. Whether it is a notebook, a memo book, paper, pen, ink, stationery, an accessory, just something to do with the writing industry, I'm going to try to get you out a blog post and a video each week to get you a little bit more information. And this week, I figured I would get it out of the way before it is completely sold out. It is the Fall 2012 edition of Field Notes. It is the Traveling Salesman edition, and after doing the paper test on it, I found that it's surprisingly fountain pen friendly. So let's check it out. So here it is, the 2012's Fall edition, limited edition from Field Notes. It's the Traveling Salesman. It's a 3-pack. This is how they normally come, wrapped up in plastic and everything. It's a nice 3-pack. And I'm going to go with this one today. I had the 3-pack, but 2 of them are currently in California, helping to keep track of expenses for my wedding next year. So the only thing you're not going to see is me unwrapping it, the band, and tossing 2 of these notebooks to the side. But hey, now you get to see me toss 3 of them to the side. Alright, now here's the actual notebook itself. The dimensions of it is 3.5 inches wide, 5.5 inches tall. Inside, you're going to have ledger lines is going to be the ruling. They're 1/4 inch in distance right there, which is my preferred ruling. That's pretty much what I have everything that I make set at. And then also the paper inside is Mohawk 70-pound light green. It has the fine ledger ruling, and the colors of that, it says, are sawbuck green and ledger red, which is soy-based superior ink. And if you want to know more information, they have all the specifications, actually, which is really cool, in the back of the notebooks. Let's see if I can zoom in. You can read. It has all the specifications about how the notebook is made, what the cover is made out of, the paper, even down to that the corners are rounded to 3/8 of an inch on what was cut using it, where these were printed at. It's just really cool how they maintain the whole story of these notebooks throughout the production of them and into the final distribution. Alright, and speaking of the cover, it's a 100-pound French pop tone hot fudge in color. Their logo is embossed right here, and then it is double hit with a fool's gold metallic soy-based ink, which just gives it a nice gold on brown color, which goes really well with the light green pages on the inside, and then all the other text and everything is also still that fool's gold metallic ink. The paper itself, it's slightly textured. You can actually, if you really look close, you can actually see the texture. So it does provide a little bit of feedback when you're writing, but it's nothing that detracts from using it, or that's really noticeable by any means. I can see if maybe I can zoom in and you can see some of the fibers. I don't know if you can slightly see a little bit of the texture. It's really hard to see. There isn't a whole ton here. So it's not that big a deal or anything. But it's just something, if you like super smooth paper like Clairefontaine, this is not going to match Clairefontaine by any means. But it is a pretty nice paper to write on. And it's side staple bound also, these memo books. Steel staple, it's nothing fancy there, just your standard side staple binding. Yeah, so let's go over the actual paper test. Now what I did is, this is the paper test I'm going to use for pretty much all of the papers and stuff that I review. It's a 3 or 4 part test. The first part right here, just information about the paper itself. I figure out the thickness of it. This paper itself is 0.11 millimeters thick, or 0.0045 inches, which is a fairly standard thickness. I mean, I don't really know what the average is for all papers everywhere, but it's not crazy thick or anything by any means. And then just information, the price for it. These are $10 for a 3-pack, but like I said, these are limited editions, and they are mostly sold out in a lot of places. Last time I checked, we have about 50 more in stock, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to get any more after those are gone. Last time I checked with Field Notes, I asked them how many they have left in stock, and they said they had about 200 left in stock, and that was about a month ago. So I highly doubt they have any left right now, which means I won't be getting any more, and if you see them anywhere, there's a good chance those are the last ones you're going to find for sale anywhere, because once Field Notes limited editions are sold out, they don't print them again, to my knowledge. So let's actually go into the test. And what I did for this, I used Noodler's black ink for everything, and then I took 5 different pens, 5 different nib sizes, and see how they seen. I don't even know what tends to use that in, and figured out how they would look and interact with this paper. All right, so we will start with the extra fine Studio Lamy, or Lamy Studio with the steel nib. Just a little crosshatch here, figure eights, and then just did a darker, a wetter circle. And then I did the results here, which is show through, bleed through, and feathering. And just did it on a scale from 0 to 3. 0 meaning there's none, 3 meaning there's a lot. And this paper, you're going to tell, worked out really, really well. There's almost no see-through for anything. I mean, this right here is written front to back. I didn't bother changing, and you can't really see any show through it at all from the other side. It's a very good paper. The Pelican M200 with a medium nib steel. Still nothing. The bold 18 karat Pilot Vanishing Point. Still not even show through with that. I mean, it is right here is where the dark square would be, and I can't see it even right here. But then I also have lights in my face, so once those are off, if you're in a regular room, you might be able to if you hold it up to the light, but for the most part, you're not going to notice it. It's awesome. The 1.1 millimeter metallic Lamy Vista. There was a little bit of show through and a little tiny bit of bleed through on this one, and it is literally like a little teeny tiny speck in this wet area. But that's the only bleed through there was, and it's because it's a little heavier ink, or a little wetter. There was a little bit more show through. And then the Noodler's Ahab Flex steel nib on that. Again, there was a little tiny bit of bleed through in this area, and also in the figure eights, which I think is because I slightly dug into the paper a little bit with it. And as such, there was a little bit of show through as well. So then what I did is I took all these numbers, I averaged them out, and the lower the score, the better. So this got a 0.4 in show through, a 0.4 in bleed through, and a 0 in feathering. There was no feathering at all with any of this, but this is, again, Noodler's black ink. It's known to be really good for not feathering. If you use a fast dry ink, such as the Organic Studio, Charles Darwin, or some of those, the Bernanke series from Noodler's, those might feather quite a bit, or some at least. I don't know quite a bit on this paper. This one went really well, but you'll probably notice some feathering as you do on most papers with that ink, because it does dry fast, which means it soaks into the paper really quickly. Then I took those 3 scores, I averaged them. It has an overall score of 0.27, which is amazing. Pretty much anything less than 1 is going to be fountain pen friendly. Overall, it's a very fountain pen friendly paper. It's pretty smooth. There isn't really anything bad to say about it with how it interacts. I mean, I know light green paper isn't going to be everybody's favorite color for writing with, and it has a ledger line, so unless you're actually using it for ledger purposes or something, you're probably not going to have a whole ton of use for it. The paper itself is just fantastic for fountain pens. After I did the actual writing test, I checked out how it dried. I just used the Pelican M200 medium nib, and again, the Noodler's black ink. The dry time was somewhere between 30 seconds and 45 seconds. It might be less if you're using a different ink or a finer nib, but this is just medium nib, standard black ink, and the dry time was a little longer than I like, but for the most part, you're going to be fine. I mean, I usually I write these lines a little wet. Just see, I push down a little bit harder. So if you're just using standard, really quick writing, you're probably not going to have quite as long dry time. But for the really wet areas, that's about what you're going to be looking at. Then I did a swab test. I figured how many passes with a cotton swab or Q-tip it took before it would bleed through, and it took 3. Well, I don't know if you can see it on there. It really barely soaked through after 3. See, where is it even on there? Yeah, you can't. There it is, right there. There's a little tiny bit of bleed through, and then right there, there's a little bit too. But yeah, so I figured after 4 passes, it really would have started to show through a lot more. But 3 passes, I mean, who takes a cotton swab to a piece of paper 3 times? So I think you're pretty much good on the bleed through end of things. And then I did a soak test. I put a drop of ink on the paper. I figured out how long it took to fully dry, and how many pages it actually soaked through while drying. And as it turned out, this paper, the water stuff evaporated from the drop of ink before the ink was actually able to fully soak through the pages. It only soaked through this front page here and this second page right here. There is literally nothing anywhere else. And it took about an hour to dry. So that is just fantastic. It gives me a little bit of residue when I smear my finger on it and stuff, but I think it's just because there's nothing that it could have soaked into. It's just kind of excess ink ingredients on the paper. So overall, this is just fantastic. I was really pleasantly surprised. All right, sorry about that. Apparently my camera cuts off at 4 gigabytes worth of saved video. So it just kind of stopped recording, and I had no idea about that. So I'll just pick up from there. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised at the reaction, or at the results of how this paper performed. I normally, with field notes, I typically use ballpoints and roller balls and pencils on it, because I haven't really done any stringent fountain pen ink tests with it. But now I'm completely confident that it can handle fountain pen inks for sure. I'm just kind of sad that they don't make this regularly, that it is just a limited edition. So like I said, once it's gone, it's gone. So if you find it anywhere, go ahead and grab a pack or 6, your choice. I'll probably keep a couple packs for myself, actually, because I'm just a really big fan of this edition. It's really, really beefy. And it just looks cool. It's really unique. I haven't seen another company making memo books that are ledger book styles, which it's not the most popular ruling for sure. I mean, I don't keep my financial records inside of a notebook or anything like that. But it's just nice if I go on trips and stuff, I'll probably use it for keeping records as far as like gas consumption, and just little expenses there, so I don't lose track of things if I do lose receipts or something like that. And like I said, it's actually being used over in California to help take care of the finances for my upcoming wedding. So this itself, yeah, I highly recommend this notebook. I think it's awesome. Originally from Field Notes, they did include a button, I believe, with these. They didn't for us regular retailers. It was strictly through them, and I don't think they do that anymore. It was just for the first little batch of them. So they did at one point include a little something extra with these. Because at least lately they've been including something extra with a lot of their packs, like with the National Crop Edition. It was a 6-pack of memo books, but they also included a patch and a map. And then with this newest America the Beautiful edition, they included a water transfer decal, which was just awesome. Hopefully, once it warms up some, probably next week here, I'm going to put it on my car, and I might do a video about how to actually put it onto the vehicle. So yeah, so that's about it. So I think that I covered everything pretty well, but if you think that I missed anything, or if you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know in the comments below, or you can always send me an email at ajzeller@zellerwritingcompany.com. Thanks. See you later.